everyone, welcome to Squirrel Brain Stories. Just a little reminder right here at the beginning, we're going to be talking about heavy topics. Please make sure to take care of yourself, reach out to a friend if this triggers something in you. Make sure you drink your water, take your meds, and just maybe if you're not in a good place, today is not the day for this, come back to us later.
Okay, welcome back to Squirrel Brain Stories, everyone. I'm Angela, and my co-host Adria is here with me. Hi. Okay, so before the me going to get gasoline thing, there's another little story that I remember, which is kind of a crazy story. So I probably should talk about it a little bit, but one day I was back in the backyard washing laundry. In Mexico, you wash laundry by hand. So I'm out there, I'm like 5 months pregnant, washing laundry by hand, barefoot. And Juan comes into the house and he's like, "You need to come out here right now. Hurry." And I was like, what the fuck's going on now? So I go outside and there's like this big group of people. I have no idea. Again, I have no idea how this started. But they're like in fighting stance, and he gives me his AK-47 and he says, "If anyone jumps in, shoot shots into the sky." And I'm like here in the middle of the street, barefoot, pregnant, all wet because I've been washing laundry. And I'm here holding this AK-47.
And this is the second time you've had an angry mob in front of your house.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the first time you had acid because you're fucking crazy. And now you have an AK-47 because he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Continue.
Thankfully, I didn't shoot it. Oh gosh. Anyway, so yeah, the night before the incident, he told me that I had to go buy some gasoline. Taxi was coming to pick me up. I went and got the gasoline, and he woke me up in the mornings. I all freaked out. We need to go now. And I'm grab the kids, grab the diaper bag. We have to go. And so I'm like, okay. And so I start heading to the front door, and he's like, "No, we're not going in the truck." And I'm like, okay. He's like, "We have to go through the backyard." And I was like, what the fuck happened now? He's like, well, as we're like going through the back parcel lot to get across the barbed wire fence, he's like, "Well, there was an accident and the policemen are going to be coming." And I'm like,
okay, I want to pause and rewind. So the gasoline, he sends you in a taxi to get the gas, let's say just for my brain being able to categorize everything. It's a Sunday night. He sends you to get it. So he'd be waking you up Monday morning telling you, "We got to fucking go."
yes.
Is this at all related to when you got pulled over and he had the lighter and he was arrested?
No,
Because,
this is a
okay,
new
so
incident.
we're further in the future than
Yep.
that. Okay, cool. I just had to get that straight in my head.
Yeah, no, this was after that. And at some point he told me, I had a Molotov cocktail and I threw it at the wife's place she's renting, at her house that she's renting. And he tells me this story that, in Mexico, a lot of the poor people, they build a fence with the rocks. So he's like, his explanation was that he tried to light her house on fire because he wanted to burn all the stuff that she stole from our store. And apparently when he threw this Molotov cocktail at her house, it slammed against the door or a window somewhere at the front of the house. And then the flame and gasoline flew. And apparently, according to him, she was bent down behind this rock fence in her front yard, brushing her teeth outside. And I'm like, who the fuck brushes their teeth outside? I mean, I know it is Mexico, but I'm pretty sure that house had running water. So I don't exactly know what happened. But yes, he threw a Molotov cocktail at her house. It splattered when the glass broke, and the fire got on her.
Okay, so regardless of what she was doing, she was outside. And he's trying to tell you he threw it at the house, not directly at her.
Yes.
Do we believe that?
No.
Okay, cool. Because I certainly don't.
No. So we're like running through the yard with all the kids, and he has his AK-47, and we jump the barbed wire fence, and we're cutting through other people's yard to get to the next street. And he had already contacted one of his brothers somehow before this. And one of his brothers was driving by, and right as we were coming out on that other street after we passed through the people's yard, the local police were in their pickup truck, and a bunch of them were hanging on the back of the pickup truck, and they all had their shotgun, all of their guns. And if we would have come out like 5 seconds sooner, there would have been a fucking shootout and we would have been dead. Like, there would have been dead people.
Okay, so before you continue, want to touch on the logistics of getting 3 small children and a fucking pregnant woman over a barbed wire fence.
Mm-hmm. I think he put some boards on it and smashed it down. It wasn't like a very sturdy barbed wire fence. It was just to keep out like animals and robbers.
I can imagine my kids wailing in fear the entire time.
I don't really remember what I was thinking. All I knew was we were just trying to like surviving and escape. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, what were they going to do if they caught it? Like, it was so fucking scary.
Well, it sounds like the wife had a lot of sway and he just tried to murder her.
Yes.
So I don't think it would have been good.
No, it would have not been good. Oh man. Because right as we came out of this onto the street, we saw the police pass by at the end of the street. And I was like, I just felt like my heart drop. And I was like, oh my God, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Me and all the kids are going to die here in fucking Mexico. But thankfully, his brother pulled up and we all piled into his truck. And then he took us over to his, I think he took us over to his we went to his brother Yvonne's house for a second until the other brother, Marcos, came and picked us up. Or was it Ephraim? It was Alex. I think it was his brother, Alex. He picked us up and then took us over to his brother Marcos's house. And we were at his brother Marcos's house for quite a few hours until it got nighttime. And then at nighttime, they drove us all the way to Merida, which is like the main city. It's a couple hours away from their town. So they drove us all the way to that town, and we stayed at his aunt. I think her name was Edith. I don't know, Edith. I can't remember what her name was, but they took us to her house in Merida, in the main town. That's where the airport was. And that's where we were hiding for quite a while, 3 months or so. But while we were in hiding there, our landscaper guy that had been coming to the house, and doing all this, planting all the trees and stuff, one day he brought over his daughter. And she was a baby as well. And she was super sick. He's like, yeah, she's been really sick. She's been thrown up and had diarrhea for like last week. And she was super skinny. Well, I didn't know about rotavirus because rotavirus isn't a thing here really in the US. Like, you don't hear about rotavirus, that often. I didn't know that he had exposed my daughter to rotavirus. So once we get into hiding in Merida, Mexico, my daughter gets super sick. And she had diarrhea and vomiting, and it was nonstop, and she was losing so much weight. And finally, I'm like, she needs to go to the doctor. We have to take her to the doctor. Yeah. And so his aunt took me to the hospital because he couldn't go because he was all over.
He's a fucking idiot, and she knew exactly who attacked her. And
well, and he was all over in the newspapers. He was a wanted criminal.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to kill your wife with a Molotov cocktail.
Sometimes the most violent people are the least bright. I'm trying to be as nice as I can.
Yeah. So we went to it seemed more like a clinic than a hospital. She probably was there a week to 2 weeks. And the interesting thing about Mexico is when you go to the hospital and stuff, before you leave, you have to pay. And we didn't have any money. And so my daughter couldn't leave the hospital until we paid once she finally got better.
That kind of sounds like kidnapping.
And I was like, what the hell are we going to do? Because the regular part of the hospital was like a big waiting room that just had a bunch of beds around the walls and some curtains between them. And there was no air conditioner. And I wanted to stay with her. I didn't want to leave my baby alone in this crazy country that I was, in.
And your husband's a wanted felon and he's wanted for attempted murder. And there are people looking for you too.
Yes, my name was even in the newspaper. Oh my gosh, it was fucking freaky. So we paid more to get a private room that had an air conditioner in it. But they don't even feed you in those hospitals. His aunt would have to bring food for her to eat.
Huh.
Yeah, they don't feed you. It's so crazy. So we're here at this hospital and we're there for a while, and then it's time to pay. And I'm like, how are we going to pay? So I gave his aunt all of my jewelry that I had, because I had some gold jewelry, some Mexican jewelry. And so she took all of my jewelry to the pawn shop and sold it all. And that's how we were able to pay and leave the hospital. Yeah.
Because I'm assuming anything you guys had, any money you had, he left at the house.
Yeah, I don't think we really had any money. I mean, for a little while, I was still filing unemployment.
In the States while living in Mexico?
Yeah. But I ended up having to pay it back because they saw...
I was going to say, isn't that fraud?
Yeah, they garnished me when I started working again to repay it because they saw the IP address and they knew I wasn't in the U.S.
I was just on vacation.
Right?
For a few.
Looking for a job on vacation in Mexico.
You guys were down there for what, a year?
Yeah,
or a
close
little less.
to. Yeah, it was a little less, but it was close to close. It was more than 6 months, probably around 9 months or so. So we're stuck in Mexico. He's a wanted felon. We had to park the expedition truck at some garage. I don't know. One of the neighbors down the street had this enclosed garage. So it was like a big, you couldn't see behind it. So they put the truck in hiding because the truck was everywhere in the newspaper. But before we got the truck, when they raided the home, there was like a mob that came and raided the house along with the police and the federales. And they smashed out all of the windows for the truck. And they stole whatever they wanted to from the store. Like, they ransacked the store, stole it, whatever they wanted. It was crazy. When we finally, I think we went back there one time, maybe quickly. And the house was like empty. Like, they stole so much stuff. But even his family and even the neighbors, like one day I saw his sister, Dahlia, and she was wearing one of my shirts. And I was like, are you serious? Like, even you're still in. She took my camera. It was crazy. They're like animals, man. All of the neighbors were ransacking the house and the federales, the police. I've never seen. That's definitely some third world shit there.
Well, I want to ask, I know she's a little bit cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but how did his wife fare after being lit on fire?
They took her to the hospital. She had 3rd-degree burns. She went to the main local hospital for them to stabilize her. And then she ended up going to the big hospital in Merida. And from what I had heard, she ended up going to Texas to get some reconstructive surgery because she couldn't move her arm right because of all the scar tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded pretty bad. I have not seen her since. So I don't know what kind of scars.
How extensive it was.
Yeah, but it sounded like it was pretty bad. So we're in hiding and at his aunt's place. And it's funny because his Juan's, one of his cousins, she's a lawyer and she was like a lawyer for the government. And they'd come and visit us. Like, they knew it was her mom's house we were staying at.
Oh, that's...
So they were like...
So she's aiding and abetting and hiding a criminal. Okay, cool.
And her husband was like this big honcho lawyer too. And both of them came over and visited and gave him legal advice on.
So the whole family's dirty from top to bottom. Okay.
And he even like his brother-in-law, Juan's brother-in-law, he even like did some legal paperwork that some sort of document that if Juan carried around with him, it was supposed to protect him from getting arrested.
What is this magical get out of jail free card?
I don't know. I don't remember what he
was
called,
it.
what
Like
it was
fake
called.
Papers?
No, it was something that he paid him to do this legal paperwork for him. Yeah, I don't know. It was some sort of thing to impugn him against arrest until everything was investigated or something like that. It's so corrupt down in Mexico. So, we're in hiding and couldn't really go out of the house anywhere because he was wanted. And we came back from the hospital with my daughter and just trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. And I come up with this idea. I'm like, okay, I think I need to go back to the United States and file taxes. That way we can get a refund. And then we'll have money to make our way back to the United States. So I went to try to buy a plane ticket to come back to the US. And apparently I had overstayed. So when you fly down to Mexico, you can be in the country 3 months and you have to leave before your 3 months are up. And yeah, because they have to seal your passport and you have to be out. You can come back. You just have to go out and you can come back in. So a lot of people like go down to Belize. If you live in South Mexico, you go to Belize, cross the border, then they stamp your seal and then you can just walk right back over. But when you drive, when you drive down, you get 6 months to stay in the country. And then so I was over the 6 month time period and I couldn't buy a plane ticket. So everyone bitches about the immigration here in the US, but the US is not the only country that has very hard immigration laws. Like I couldn't leave the country. So I couldn't buy a plane ticket and I'm like, well, what do I do? And they're like, well, you got to go to this big government building in Merida and you have to pay a fine. And I was like, okay. So I went to this building and it was like an $800 fine.
Damn.
Yeah, because I had overstayed my stay. So I had to pay this huge fine. And so I don't remember where we got the money from, but I paid this huge fine and then I was able to buy a plane ticket. And I came back alone and all of the kids stayed with Juan in hiding. And I was up here for like 2 days. I just came and went to like Walmart, did the Walmart tax people thing, set it up for direct deposit. And then I flew back down and I stayed with one of the families that were connected to the cult. They didn't live in the cult, but they were one of the leaders that had left once there was all of the falling out, once the abuse was revealed that he was doing to the young girl.
Once people started going to prison, he said, no, thank you.
Yeah, they backed out and didn't have any more ties with them. And I contacted her and I was like, I'm only going to be in town for a couple of days. I need to come up and do my taxes so that we can come back up from Mexico. We can have the money to drive back up from Mexico. And so they let me stay at their house. I was there for like 2, maybe 3 days, did my taxes and flew back down to Mexico. They almost didn't let me fly back down because of how pregnant I was.
Yeah. Because you would have been, 7, 8 months at that time?
Yeah, it was something right around there. I was very pregnant. I had a very big pregnant belly and they were a little leery about letting me fly. And I'm like, I need to fly. But it was in Mexico that I was getting bullshit about flying, about getting on the plane. It was in Mexico City with my stop there. So I flew back down from the US to Mexico, went back into hiding, waited for the direct deposit to finally come through. And once that finally hit, we're like, okay, we can get out of here. So we paid a mechanic to put fake plexiglass windows on the truck, just like temporary. They weren't like, they were just like glued in just to, so that there would be windows on the truck when we were driving back from Mexico.
So it wouldn't look super suspicious that all your windows are busted out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I have no idea how we weren't stopped along the way.
How did you guys get the truck? Because it was back in his town, hiding in somebody's garage.
Well, no, yeah, it was in his town. The truck for a while was still at the house, and one of the brothers finally drove it up to us in Merida, and then that's when we put it in this neighbor's storage.
They must not have cared too much about getting justice for the wife, honestly, because the second that car moved, they should have been following it.
Yeah, they should have had a tracker on it.
They had time to steal everything. Why
Yeah.
not time to throw a little tracker in there?
Yeah. So we got all the fake windows on the truck, and we started making our way back to the U.S. And we finally got to the border.
Now, did Juan have papers? No.
So when we got to the border, they're like, you know, I gave them the birth certificates for all of us. When I was in Mexico, I had to get a passport because I didn't have a passport. And to be able to fly, you had to have a passport because they had just made the law that passports were required. You couldn't use a birth certificate
Okay.
to fly internationally. So I got my passport's a Mexican passport, or it's from Mexico. Yeah. So once we got to the border, we gave all of the documentation. He gave them his work permit card, which had already expired. And the Border Patrol was like, this is valid only if you're in the US, but it's already expired. He's like, you can't use this for re-entry into the US. And I was like, can you just give this guy a call? So he called the ICE agent that had done the undercover sting that we had helped, and that had helped Juan and his brother Marcos get their work permits. I gave him his cell number because we had his cell number. And I was like, just give him a call and tell him the situation. And, you know, and that's where we left it. So he took down the number, went to the office, gave this agent a call. He's like, okay, he gave me approval to let you guys through.
So did no one like run his name and see that he's got like a felony warrant out for attempted murder?
Apparently not.
Okay.
Right? There was wanted posters all over Mexico. I mean, yeah, that's pretty crazy how easily. I mean, yeah, it was just a phone call. It wasn't a legal re-entry.
And was there any reason why you think this ICE agent decided, yeah, let's bring this dude back over?
I think he thought he was doing us a favor.
Okay.
But it just shows how corrupt the system can be, because this ICE agent now works for the DEA. And so I always think in the back of my head, like, if he did stuff off the books for us, what could he potentially be doing in the DEA now? You know?
Yeah.
You don't usually only do one thing that, you know, is just trying to help the bad guy. Like, that's usually not the case. There's usually a track record of, you know, out of the book
Some
stuff.
little shady under the table dealings,
Yeah.
a little bit of extra money in your pocket.
Yeah, no, I think about it every once in a while. I'm like, man, I don't even know. That should have never happened. I mean, I would have been able to get back to the U.S. with all the kids. He just would have had to stay there.
Shit, the Border Patrol shouldn't even have bothered to call. He should have been like, no, this is not, no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And was that Mexican Border Patrol or was that American
Border Patrol.
Super effective.
Yeah. So we finally, you know, we got through. He gave the permission for him to get through. And so we made our drive back to the U.S. and stayed at a couple of hotels one hotel on the way overnight so we could all sleep, and he just drove the rest of the way, and we came back to Portland. And of course, when we get here, neither of us have a job, although it's really easy for Mexicans to get a job, construction, like they have so many contacts. They just call up an old cousin and be like, hey, I just came back from Mexico and I need a job. And they're like, okay, show up on Monday.
Yeah.
So he got a job really fast. So when we first got back up to Portland, we stayed at a hotel for one night or maybe 2 nights. And then I started looking around at apartments and I'm like, I finally found an apartment that would let us rent, even though neither of us had jobs yet. And I'm like, I think I showed them our bank account. I'm like, look at, this is how much money we have in the bank. I promise one of us will have a job soon. And, we can give you a higher deposit. I think we ended up paying a higher deposit. And so that's how that was. So it didn't take too long to get an apartment to stay at with all the kids and us.
Was going back to your mom and stepdad an option?
I didn't even reach out to them.
Okay.
They hated Juan.
Well, they hated you too.
Yeah, but before we went down to Mexico, I redid the divorce paperwork, or was that after? They were mad because I was, no, I don't think the child support had kicked in yet. It was before that. Yeah, I didn't even reach out to them. There was no point. I knew that they were still friends with the prearranged husband
and with the cult leaders and
yeah. So I didn't even use that as an option. So that was, I can't believe that we actually escaped Mexico.
I can't believe he got over the border that easily. That is unnerving.
With an expired work permit.
That he never should have been given in the first place, honestly.
Yeah.
And he is a violent criminal.
Well, and this attempted murder on his wife was not his first murder or his first attempted murder. He had murdered someone earlier in Mexico. And he always talks about it. He tells everyone, he loves to brag about the story. One night he was driving down on the freeway. Well, they call it freeway, but it's a little tiny road for us. Yeah. And there was like a road rage incident between him and a motorcycle guy. I don't know if it was a motorcycle. It could have been probably a moped because and motorcycles really aren't a thing in Mexico, but mopeds are. But I don't know. I wasn't there. This was many years ago. And there was a road rage incident and he had a bottle of beer in the car, in his truck, Juan did. And so he rolled down his window and he threw this bottle of beer at the motorcycle guy. And the motorcycle guy ended up crashing and dying. Yeah. But, he...
So he goes around and he brags about this.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. And I'm sure this was like reported somewhere, right?
I'm
that
sure.
There was this single vehicle accident, moped, motorcycle, whatever, crashed, passed away.
Yeah, it would have been in the newspaper.
And everyone knows it's him and everybody just goes.
Well, because they're all afraid of him.
Obviously not that afraid if they're fucking ransacking his house and angry mobs are showing up.
Yeah, well, they probably figured that he would have had to be too brazen to come back to the house because the federales were looking for him. I don't know. That was pretty great. But yeah, he's a person that, and before we had left Mexico, we went to this drug dealer's house.
Because of course that was really the only thing missing here.
Yeah, he was a drug lord and he was a coyote. He was a coyote. He was the one who taught Juan how to be a coyote because Juan did coyote work too. Because, of course.
Because of course.
Oh my gosh. What a shit show.
Girl.
Yeah, between buying a baby, Molotov cocktail, trying to kill your wife, your first wife that you're still married to. I have no idea how I survived all those years, all that time. It's ridiculous. You're probably mind blown, aren't you?
I am
You're kind of speechless.
trying to process it was already so hard with the things that you had to endure watching the systems that are supposed to be in place to help protect people. It's rough hearing over and over again how spectacularly those systems failed you. And then to be able to say that it was multinational, that literally everywhere you went, you and those around you were just failed repeatedly, that there were so many opportunities for things to go in a different direction if only someone had stood up and did the right thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It just...
We'll hear even more about that as we get further into Juan, because Portland sanctuary city is bullshit. And it's because of them that he is on the loose. And I still have a price on my head.
Are you expensive?
I'm kind of cheap. I'm kind of easy.
Damn. Well, I guess you're safe from me.
But, one of my daughters, my older daughter, she's like, Mom, I don't want you talking about this story about Juan. And I'm like, I'm done fearing him. Like, he is not having any more control over my life. And she's like, yeah, but he can find you and he might actually kill you this time. And I'm like, he can come and try, but my husband is in the army and he knows how to use guns. And we have lots of guns. So I'd love more than anything to have a death certificate so that you guys can get some sort of compensation from your father and like actually be able to pay for college and shit like that.
Yeah.
So no, I'm done being afraid of him.
Yeah.
He's controlled so much of my life and ruined my children's lives that there's nothing left for me to fear for him except anger at this point. And wishing that he gets his one day. And I know he will, because karma's a bitch.
People that live lives like he does.
Oh, and I'm pretty
they
sure
meet the expected end before long.
And he would always fantasize about like killing people and hurting people. And the other interesting thing is any animal that was ever around him, before he wouldn't even have to touch the animal or go up to it. The animal wouldn't want to be near him at all.
Oh, so he's
evil.
I told you, I saw his picture and I went, no, not for all the money in the fucking world would I be in a room with this guy.
There's a place that he will rot one day. There's a place special people like him go to. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's the Mexico part of it.
How much time do we have left? Jesus Christ.
10 minutes? Yeah, so there's a lot more because, of course it's never easy.
No. So in 10 minutes, let's talk about getting back on your feet, being back in Portland, because there's many more years that you're with him.
Oh, yeah. We were together 10 years.
Things continue to spiral, but at this point, we've only been married to him 2 years?
Yeah, probably at this point, it's been about 2 years.
2 years, 2 kids in, you're at 4 kids total. What's that like? No, you haven't even given birth to the youngest yet.
Yeah.
So
when we came back, we found that apartment, and we were there for a while, for a few months, and I was still looking at. It was kind of farther than where I wanted to be. It It was like out in the Gresham area, and I wanted to kind of be closer into town. And so I was still looking around at other places, and one of his brothers Marcos came and rented a room with us because he had never left the U.S., so he still had his work permit was expired. But the crazy thing is, when you get a work permit, they give you a social security card, and once your work permit expires, that social security card is still good. Like if someone were to go to work today with that number, it would still work. You would still get social security credits for your work history. And one day you will be able to retire and get Medicare.
Okay.
Yeah. His brother, I'm sure to this day, his brother lives in Clackamas. I'm sure his brother is still working with his good social security number because, that's what he got. That's what Juan, before the rest of the story. I mean, when he came back, he was working with his old. There's a note on the social security card that says, check work permit or something like that. I can't remember the exact language, but it's on the front of the card, like above or below the numbers, but no one ever checks it.
It's the same thing. It's not supposed to be valid until you sign the back. I don't know anybody that signs the back of their social security card.
No one looks at them. You just write in the number.
Yes.
Yeah. So we ended up finding a different apartment, and this was like low income apartments. It wasn't like Section 8, but it was for people that made lower income.
Like a sliding scale type thing.
Yeah. So it was really nice apartments. They were like brand new apartments. I think we were the first person that got this apartment. It was a 3-bedroom apartment in Clackamas. The brother-in-law came and rent a room from us. And then once the ordeal, then the other brother-in-law was brought from Mexico. That's a fun story of how we got back into contact with our good old immigration buddy to help us with another little bust.
We're going to have to do that later because I might lose my banana phones at this point.
So, we moved to this new apartment. It was really nice. And I was just staying at home with the kids and, waiting for my second daughter to be born. And it was chaotic because Juan's an asshole and there was always yelling and screaming and he was not nice to the boys and he would hit them. And I would just try to keep the boys away from him, have them stay in their room, stay in your room, you guys, avoid him. But there was always something. There was always chaos and drama and headaches, and it never ended.
And at this point, you're still relatively new within the marriage and the relationship. I think anything under 5 years is kind of relatively new. Yeah. You're still getting to know who that person is behind the mask that they presented to you when you first met, right?
Yeah.
But you're still fairly new in this, and it's still a far cry from what you experienced from your ex, right?
It felt like it.
Yeah, he
wasn't beating me. He might have been beating the kids on and off, but he wasn't beating me. And like, I'd jump in to, separate them. So it seemed in a way a better situation than the Colt did.
He hadn't hit the line of abuse you were no longer willing to tolerate.
Yeah. Because, a lot of it was like, that's just spanking, and what I'm conditioned to and what I've seen in the Colt and the kids beaten and stuff. In my mind, that's what you do. That's parent, that was the normal parenting.
Yeah, I might have slapped you across the face, but I didn't, take a hanger and beat you until the skin broke. So really, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, he didn't do anything wrong. It's not that deep. Get over it.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is probably a good point a good stopping point, you guys.
Before we dive down another rabbit hole we can't dig our way out of.
Yeah, because, this story just goes on and on for many years.
Well, we're here for it, just not tonight.
I'm a little exhausted from having to remember all this stuff. And, it's kind in a way, it's kind of like reliving it all over again when you talk about it. Because when you don't talk about it, you can keep it hidden away and you can keep it out of your mind and not think about it. But
yeah,
talking
it's
about
just
it,
an event that happened that is not emotionally connected to you because it's so far removed and you've spent so much time just going, yeah, it happened. It was fine. As long as I don't think about it, don't talk about it, don't put myself back there, it's fine.
yeah. But bringing stuff back up and having to think about it, and it just is really draining.
It is, and it's much different, talking about it with your husband than it is talking about it with me, than it is talking about it with your kids. I think all of those conversations are very different levels of emotional attachment to it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's for sure. Well, thank you everyone for being here with us today.
Thanks, guys.
I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. There's definitely more to come. Again, please check out, if you need to get caught up on where we're at in the story, please check out the past episodes. Please find us on, Squirrel Brain Stories. You can even Google it. It will pop up Spotify or YouTube or whatever,
And also pretty please subscribe, leave stars. Just don't leave mean comments. They hurt our feelings. We're babies. We don't want our feelings hurt.
I mean, no one should be getting, after everything that's happened.
Somebody always has something negative to say. Just keep it to yourself. Call your mom. I don't know. Talk to a wall. We don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we want to hear all the good things.
Yeah. And if anyone has questions about any parts of the story that need to be clarified, feel free to email us at squirrelbrainstories@gmail.com. Or if anyone has any old news articles from this event, you can't find anything online because it was so old, so long ago. But if anyone has anything hidden away from Mexico, from Uxcuzcab, we would definitely welcome it because it would be nice to have some actual, physical pieces of evidence in my piled paperwork that I have saved.
Yeah, if you guys do, if there's anybody that does want to mail us something, maybe shoot us an email, let us know, and we can look into getting a P.O. box and not, dox one of us and give our addresses out.
Yeah, no, we don't want to do that.
No, we don't.
Especially when
we're brave, we're not stupid.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, well, have a good night, everyone.
Bye. See you guys next week.